of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. Your host, Minister A.H.A.D, and with me have my partners in faith, Brother Fakir Abdul-Aziz, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem, the Holy Queen Mother Rabbi Saleem. May Ahezaah's peace and other blessings be about everyone's presence. Those watching this program, may the Lord's peace and other blessings be about your presence as well. We thank the Lord much for coming together, gathering us in the spirit of His goodness, in the spirit of His blessing and mercy for us, that we can sit down and dialogue and conversate about different things that Ahezaah may put upon our hearts and in our minds to think about that maybe help you out in your religious life, in your life in general, that Ahezaah sent down. One of the things we want to discuss this evening is concerning the language that Ahezaah have sent down in this hour of the day through this message of prophet, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen, the language of English. Much of the problem and confusion in religion today is because of the language that people translate from one language to another, and in their translation, much of it is mistranslated, causing confusion to come down to those who try to accept the religion that Allah has sent down to come to the truth in this hour today. At the same time, it leads many people into leading almost like a double life or two sides of the thing because of the confusion again back to the language. So Ahezaah bless us today in this hour to get this language in English, this message in English, so that our people who are this Americas can understand what Ahezaah is trying to express to them of this covenant or this agreement that is sending down. So with that being said, Holy Apostle, Holy Queen, my brother Fakir,
we can marry His peace and all the blessings within about your presence, Idris, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen, Holy Queen Mother. I'm stricken by the mercy and the sense, the clear sense and the mercy of Ahezaah to send to every people, to His people, a messenger from among themselves. So a term that's said throughout the Quran, min kum. That's the Arabic term, min kum, from among yourselves, a messenger from among yourselves. And even in the Quran, and this is for the Muslim world, for those that might want to challenge this, it even specifically says, speaking in the language, lisan, in your tongue. And Allah in the Quran makes distinctions between the nations of people by their colors and their tongues. So it's very clear that it's talking about it's covering your tongue. And you talk about today's English language and the Lord Holy-Apostle coming to the world in the English language. It strikes me as well that the English language you would think is still throughout the world the language that every nationality is striving to have some understanding of. It's still like a center point for different motives, for different reasons, like for money, for having access to the economy of the United States or from Europe and stuff like that. But here it is, Ahezaah's awaiting them with the message of this day and this time that applies to the people in the world mindset, and the world events at this day and this time, speaking in the language that most everybody understands or is striving to understand at this time.
I had to speak up. I believe that, everything is set in place. And when Ahezaah decides to send a messenger, it sets things in place before it sends its messenger. So that man don't have a way to back out.
Right.
And English is the most popular language in the world. If you speak something other than English, know that English is the second language. And I believe our Lord, Ahezaah set it up for that reason. One thing about language, the English language, is because we speak English, we write, in that way. If you really look at it, it's really not hard to understand it if you utilize the dictionary. You have to utilize the dictionary for a lot of words because everybody has their own interpretation for whatever reason. African American people usually be the ones that's the most off the page when it comes to understanding the English language. And that's because we utilize so much slang and the way we speak to each other that when clear English coming to us, it's like foreign to a large degree. So in that causes us to be so far behind everybody else. You know, we've been in this country a long time, and someone from another country will understand the English language than we do. Better, because we refuse to look in the dictionary and try to find the meaning of it. Then when we're in school, they really don't push English language on us in the way they're supposed to, you know, so that we can have a good relationship with the dictionary and the English language itself. So, you know, and that is, again, a minus for us, you know, and for some odd reason, we feel really intimidated by words. I know I've been guilty of that, you know, instead of trying to learn how to speak the language correctly and understand it fully. I used to always just make up an excuse until I realized, wait a minute, I'm really doing myself a disservice. So I became more familiar. It's still hard for me to speak English. People wouldn't even believe I was from this country half the time. But now understanding the words and not being afraid, and that's one of the main things our people have to understand. Fear causes us to lose so much in the game of life. Not being afraid when someone is speaking to you or speaking with you, and they say something that you don't understand. Say, excuse me, what do you mean by that? They could be telling you something really deep, like, you're going to get your head cut off. But because we're afraid to say, excuse me, and, you know, if people are very honest and truthful, they know that children don't participate in class when it comes to things, because we have a fear about asking questions. We don't want people to look upon us as stupid. Well, I think I learned, people used to always say, well, you don't ask no questions, then how you going to learn? It's stupid not to ask questions. And I used to say, no, that's bull crap. It's humiliating to ask questions. People make you feel stupid. But I learned that if you don't ask the question, that's the stupidest thing you could do.
Well, let me just say this here. Throughout my public school life, we were never, I was never inspired or encouraged to take up time with the dictionary.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important books it is in these United States of America for people in general, not just African American people, but for all people. You understand? And the other thing is, part of our culture is living in error. Yeah. Part of the African American culture is living in error, guided to error. You understand? Supported in error. That's become part of our culture. So for us to not be encouraged or taught, more importantly taught how to ask questions. Taught that it's right to ask questions. Because, you know, throughout my public school life, if we asked questions and they were questions that maybe didn't carry as much weight to them, people would laugh, and then, you know, sometimes the teacher would get frustrated, and you asking that silly question. You know, what's a silly question? There's no such thing as a silly question if you don't know the answer to it and you desire or need to know the answer. That gives that question some legitimacy, you know. But see, because of that culture and error, you know, and then there's this other thing where the teasing factor that we grew up under, you know. You have people who were well taught, well educated, and they see some advantage in it, so they start using their education against the lesser educated people to take advantage in this capitalistic society. So this is something we experience very heavily in the African American cities, in the ghettos, and what have you, and in the public school system. When I was coming up, you know, I would imagine it's still the same. you know. But that helped formed us to greater error and to shine away from the English language.
Right.
And most importantly, again, I say the dictionary. They should take that doggone lion history out of school and exchange it for dictionary. A dictionary study.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? If they really want to educate the people, but they don't really want to educate, at least the minorities, they really don't want to educate them.
Right.
You understand? Now, I remember when she and I first got together and we used to talk, you know, and she used to say things and I say, wait a minute, what did you say? And she may repeat it. And I said, no, that's not right. And she said, oh, you know what I mean. Yes, I know what you mean, but say it right. Get it right. Do you know what you mean? She would know what she meant.
Right.
But she was victimized by the same stuff I was victimized with. You understand? Saying words wrong, not knowing the proper meaning of the words, not knowing the multiple meanings of the words. I went through all that. But thank Allah, I thank Allah for Elijah Muhammad, people like Elijah and people like the Black Panthers from way back when, who encouraged us to get education.
Right.
You understand? It was my love for Allah and my desire to understand the Holy Quran that I went into, in the Bible, that I went and took up the dictionary and found a world of grace, a world of love and passion for the dictionary, because I started finding out the truth that was hidden in the dictionary. Now, Holy Queen Mother made a very valid statement when she said that Ahezaah prepared everything before it's coming. Ahezaah knew that its word was going to come down this day in English. Ahezaah is the creator of the English language. And it prepared the English language for the divine language. Huh? In that English language, in that dictionary, for the real meanings of the words, the truth is overlaid, the truth is hidden, the truth is right there.
Right.
But you need to understand the meaning of words so you can get the deeper meaning of the divine language.
Right.
The deeper meaning of what's being said, like they said, hiding in plain sight. The truth hidden in plain sight. And you got people who take and who are capitalists in the society will not educate you so you will know what they know. That's the same thing the people of the book did before this day. They've taken the holy books and the understanding of those holy books and they keep it for themselves so they'll have advantages over people instead of sharing the advantages, instead of sharing Allah's word. You understand? So that everybody will be able to come to Allah, because our purpose in this life is to praise and worship Allah, to reflect the Lord El. Huh? That's why it created us in its image. It imaged us in its creation. Huh? You know, but we as a people, you know, we have so many different natures. That the natures of the evil ones is to keep as many people as possible away from the good of both worlds. And in the misconception of the languages, in the hiding of the languages, that's the way to do it. You give great advantage to people if they don't understand, if they understand what you're saying. That's why you got people that will talk over your head, have a conversation in your presence. You don't know what they're talking about. You know? And I learned at a young age never to be ashamed to say, wait a minute, I don't understand that word you just used. You can laugh at me all you want, because I've had people want to laugh. Wow, you don't understand. Right, I don't understand. So tell me what you said. Even as a grown man, I was going through that in my 20s. No, tell me what you just said. You know? And the same fools that want to make a mockery of me and laugh, then I explain to them what they were trying to say.
That's what I was laughed about.
Yeah.
People use words and they don't even know
What they saying.
You always say that things that people understand, they can have the information, don't have the understanding.
And that's the meaning of language.
Right.
Understanding it.
And people address, especially coming to this religious life, people have a tendency, especially coming through Islam, this example I used to give me this moment, coming to Islam, where you have so many of our brothers and sisters in this country whose native tongue in itself is English, and they teach them that you can't say your prayer unless they're in
and that's a liar. That's somebody who want to take advantage of a people.
So they're still stuck in the error, part of the misguidance.
Yeah.
And then when you express to them, like I used to say for us, may His peace and blessing be with them about your presence. It's the same thing saying, Assalamu alaikum.
Right.
But because you say it in English, I get a great appreciation of the Lord's peace be with and upon you.
And you know what? And in the meaning of you granting that prayer as a greeting,
right.
In the meaning of it,
right.
The intent of it,
right.
Is that you will be rewarded
right.
by Ahezaah for using its name. That name works. That prayer works. That spirit works in you.
Right.
See, people be doing themselves a disservice. You say salam alaikum, they say, oh, this nigga ain't from my masjid, this nigga ain't from my school of thought. Don't give him salams. They doing themselves a disservice.
Right.
One of the brothers that work with us, you know, that other arena that we work in, he always greets us, you know, we come, you know, may peace be unto you. I said, may peace be unto you. It's a Christian brother, but he always greet that.
Yeah.
May peace be unto you. And I said, peace be unto you
Yeah.
too. Another brother, I know what he's saying, but this brother giving it in English, I appreciate it when he give it every time, because his spirit is a good spirit when he give it. Peace be unto you, you know. And at the same time, our people, when we give it to them in English, to them it's like almost confusing because they're not used to hearing things in English terminology. They're like, huh?
Well, you just made a statement.
Muslims, yeah. They're like, huh?
Hold that thought there. You just made a statement. You said you appreciate it because of the spirit that is given in, and that's the intent.
Right.
You understand? Because I'm quite sure if somebody say assalamu alaikum to you, you appreciate it. At least you should. I do. I appreciate it equal as if somebody say, may the peace and blessing of Ahezaah of Allah be upon you. Because I understand assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Right.
And assalamu alaikum has been rooted in me.
Right.
I understand that. You could say something to me in Chinese. If I understand it,
Right.
and then I feel the right spirit come with it, then I can appreciate that. And I can give that back to you equal.
Oh, yeah.
Or greater.
Like Allah said in the Quran.
You know?
Right.
So really, it's like, you know, it's not our intent to take away the Arabic language or to discard, to put it as a lower thing, but it's for us to take away the devils that use it in the wrong way and try to make like it's a holy language when the holiness of it can only be Allah in it, in the righteous spirit.
Right.
You understand? Because you can curse somebody to hell in Arabic.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Muhammad said, Assalamu alaikum, and them Jews said, well, he said in Arabic, may the peace of Allah be within may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. And they said, may the death of Allah be upon you.
Right.
And he said, and upon you. And then you got brothers come and want to make a new thing out of that, and you say assalamu alaikum, and then they say wa alaikum. And the sense and tone that Muhammad said, and unto you death too.
Right.
Now where's the righteousness in that? Where's Allah in that?
Right.
Huh? They are doing what? They are advocates of who? The devil.
You know?
Calling themselves believing Muslims.
Yeah. Muslims, like again, they use another term out
They're
there.
following that course of error.
Right.
You know,
Course of error.
Like,
People use that language too, like Muslims address other people many times, or people that are not in that circle or sect, as kafirs. Call them disbelievers when it's a cover of the truth. And they are covered of the truth because they know that the Arab that gave this message to them, oh yeah,
That's what Kafir means?
No, that's not what Kafir means.
No,
that's what by the era of language, here it is, they done made Kafir mean a cover of the truth. When Kafir was one of those pharaohs from Egypt, and the people worshipped in his way and had become of those who worshipped him. You know, like the Christians worship Jesus.
Right.
And the Muslims came and they forced them out of their ways and start calling them kufars or kafirs.
Yeah.
You know, because of the Pharaoh Kufa.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And now they done made it mean a cover of the truth.
Yeah, they have.
And these guys don't know what they talking about.
But no, y'all saying that, but I'm not kidding. Some people believe, African American people,
Our people
think that Kafir means disbelief.
They do. That's what they call it as.
You gonna take him to the Kafir, that disbeliever? I'm telling you.
In order for you to take them to the Kafirs, you got to go all the way to Egypt to the Sphinx and throw them in front of the Sphinx to call on the whole Kafirs to come back to life. Huh?
Yeah.
But that's like comparable to how African Americans use slang. This is they'll take language and they'll create what's called means of fashion. This is like my code language. People going around,
But at least in the ghetto, from the beginning, they had a positive reason for utilizing the slang language because the oppressors, they want to keep the oppressors from understanding what they were saying.
Right, but
so that they could talk and escape and survive and do whatever. Now it's just become part of our things like singing and
the early spirituals that the Africans sung in slavery really was code language. You gonna escape the night, you gonna go this route and that. But it was all coded in the song.
It became that.
It became that, right.
They found a way to use it.
And then somebody brilliantly, because even people don't even understand how deep slang goes into the ghetto. You could be at work and talking slang, and people don't know what you're talking about, but somebody else of your
own kind.
Kind.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with the Caucasians at the job talking at a very high intellectual level, and you don't understand what the hell they saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? We about to fire. And you up there, hey boss, how you doing today?
And then somebody decided that they was going to name our slang Ebonics and teach it in the school so that the white little kids, we wouldn't be able to trick them talking slang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody,
one of our own who a lapdog. And then the other thing was to create a holiday for black people.
Oh yeah.
How man gonna create a holiday, a holy day? People holiday means holy day. They gonna create a holy days or a holy month or whatever out of their own idea. Mm-hmm. And people get together and want to spend so much time doing things they should be doing all the time.
And that is deep, bro, because you like Kwanzaa.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And the people will take that thinking that it's a positive thing. I know how really deeply negative is going into the era of glorifying themselves. They're taking it upon themselves to glorify.
And then talking about calling on the ancestors. That's a direct defiance of Allah, of the Lord El-Amin, Christ. That's a direct defiance of it. You calling on a human being that once lived in this life, weak and frail like you, to come as a God to give you some answers and to give you some power and some guidance. You know what I mean? That ain't nothing but black or dark magic. Because we got magic.
Oh yeah.
Calling one as a God, as a protector, as all the things that belongs to the Supreme.
Think about the boy called the roach a holy roach.
Mm-hmm. Said, don't kill that roach, that's a holy roach.
Language.
That's why he said he was the shaky shake. And they never knew what he was talking about. He was shaky. I'm shaky, I'm the shaky shake. And he would laugh. And he had a following.
Yeah.
And they would look at me and Said, we don't agree with your way because you're not as strong as him. Because he would stand around there and yell at them and spank them, and Allah would just give them wisdom, and it would go right over their head and just beat Jamal down. Poof.
Well, I used to say one of the things was prophecy concerning the message of this hour today. It would come.
I want to apologize to the people for even bringing that little segment in on there because nobody don't know who Jamal is. This is a man that used to be. He's gone.
Yeah.
She just threw that up there and caught me off guard.
That was inside.
About this thing.
Yeah. Inside.
I was only talking about the road.
Oh, she's the real as
About her mentioning the name,
Yeah.
that's what snatched me.
Okay.
This man, he led a whole legion of incorrectness because of his language and his manipulation of the language and manipulation of the people and taking advantage of them because he had this knowledge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what we're going to talk about. He represents a master of that double life.
Yes, it definitely had the double life, you know. But, you know, the double life thing goes a little deeper, you know. The double life thing goes more into the hypocrisy of an individual. You know, you speaking this language just like he was speaking, but knowing that there's another side to himself that wasn't true to that side.
Right.
And you have so many people that live a double life, man. You know, I got people all the time coming in my presence acting a certain way. Then they go out into the world and they act another way. People in this community act a certain way in my presence and go out into the world and act another way. Now, if they ever get on our show, people see them and say, yeah, I know that person. You know, that person is this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. By that representation, they'll look at me, and I've had this so many times for 30 years. They judge me by the company I keep.
Yeah.
And they say, well, he must not be this, that, because that guy there or that woman there, blah, 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 this, that, this, that, this, that. You just don't know them.
Right.
Not realizing that I'm aware of who I'm with, and I'm aware the Lord commands me to be in my people's presence. But I am not here to make a person submit to Allah, to Ahezaah. You know? And to each man and each person is their path to the way, is their path to the light of truth. And for each man and each person is their judgment. You see? So anybody who want to judge me by any of y'all, any of the people that they meet out in the world that claim to be of an A.H.A.D believer, they are doing themselves a disservice. Because you can't judge me by any other person. You know?
True appreciation of people knowing that they got to return to the Lord of all worlds alone. That they came alone. Everything is one-on-one.
Well, you know,
session.
I can see what you're saying in terms of the true appreciation, but my Lord takes it even deeper. You know? Because when you give people, first of all, it's our responsibility to let the people know that at the ultimate end, they got to meet the Lord and everything going to collectively be brought together. Okay? But as you go along in your daily life, there's an end to you every day. Right at this moment as we speak, there are ends to you. Particles of your being are reaching their ends, and going off into another level of realization, another level of existence. And those things have the records of you in them. And they will all be gathered on the day of judgment as limbs, as parts of your being. You know? So every moment you should live it as though it's your last moment, like you getting ready to go before the throne of the Lord Most High. You know, because people be thinking about, well, you know, I ain't going to die until I'm about 95 years old, so I'll get myself together before then. Yeah, and keep piling sin upon sin upon sin upon sin on themselves.
You know, people get that false notion just because you're going to get yourself together or just because you're getting yourself together, that everything that took place before is all gone. That's not how it works.
And even the thought of you getting yourself together is illusion.
Right.
Yeah.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you